Hi, first grade. I hope you're well. Last week we were looking at eukaryotes, particularly plant and animal cells, and today we're going to look at prokaryotes, so bacteria. Obviously, we finished our experiment and we looked at all our bacteria that grew in our contaminated pots. And all of those things, they look like maybe little white or little green spots for some of you, but those patches are thousands and thousands and thousands of bacteria cells next to each other. Okay, so we're going to have a little deeper look at those now. Let's go. Just to repeat, so bacteria are single-celled organisms. Okay, so this bacteria you can say is like one cell here. It's quite a long cell. And it's one cell. We actually call this shape a rod. Okay. And so bacteria are prokaryotes, okay? They are different to animal and plant cells. They are still cells, but animal and plant cells are eukaryotes because they have a nucleus. Bacteria are prokaryotes. Now, usually with bacteria, we just refer them to a Latin name, okay? So this one is Escherichia coli, but normally we just say E. coli for short, okay? With some bacteria, you might say the first letter and then the second name. With other bacteria, you just say the first name. It can be very different, okay? But they often have a Latin name, which is two words, always two words. And then that Latin name, because we don't want to say two words, we might just say one word. So this is E. coli. So bacteria are different shapes, okay? And different bacteria always grow in different shapes. And you've got three common shapes, and then you've got another group, which are just some uncommon shapes, okay? So the first of the common shapes is circular. This is probably the one maybe you're most familiar with, where the bacteria will be in pairs, okay? Well, not always in pairs, but the bacteria will be circular, okay? So Streptococcus and Staphylococcus, these are quite common when you have a sore throat, okay? When you have a pain in your throat, this is caused by a bacteria. And as you can see, they're little circles growing in chains. So each one is a different bacteria and they stick together in chains. Whereas Staphylococcus will stay in like a group of little balls, and then some stay as just a pair. So the next shape is rod shaped. We're looking at E. coli, that's a rod shaped, and they're always quite long, okay? So as you can see, these are the rod shaped ones. And then finally, you've got curved forms. So they're like rods, but they're not so straight. They're kind of curved or spiral. So these are all curved. And then these are your other shapes, okay? As you can see, they can be a bit different. But the main shapes are, the common shapes are circular, rod shaped, and curved. Now, bacteria can be split into two types, gram-positive bacteria and gram-negative bacteria. This is important when we're looking at bacteria under the microscope because we need a different stain, una mancha, it's like a chemical so we can see the bacteria. Different types of bacteria need different stains, okay? So the reason why they're different is their surface, okay? So a gram-negative bacteria kind of has two membranes, okay? Has an inner membrane, cytoplasmic membrane, and an outer membrane. Whereas a gram-positive bacteria will have one membrane, and then it will have a large layer of fat, okay? This is kind of like the capsule. In gram-positive, it's just a very thick layer, okay? Whereas gram-negative, a thin layer, okay? So this is just one bacteria that we're going to look at now, and we're just going to look at the anatomy of the important parts, okay? So let's look at a few. Now, things like ribosomes, cytoplasm, plasma membrane, cell wall, these are all organelles which can be found in animal and plant cells, okay? And the functions are the same from what we looked at last week. However, bacteria have some other things. So the first one is the flagellum. So the flagellum is this like tail, okay? And the flagellum helps the bacteria swim, okay? So if the bacteria is in a liquid, the flagellum can help it swim around the liquid. Another part, which is new, is the pilus. As you can see, these little things, they look like little hairs, are on the surface on the bacteria. These are called pilus, okay? Now, what these do is they help attach to surfaces or other cells. So maybe the bacteria wants to attach to a surface because there is a source of food, or the bacteria will attach onto surface with the pilus, okay? Another thing which is quite important is this DNA. Notice how the DNA is all over the cell. Um, in a eukaryote, so an animal and a plant cell, the DNA is inside the nucleus, which is like a little ball. However, prokaryotes do not have a nucleus, and bacteria are prokaryotes. They don't have a nucleus, they just have free floating DNA, okay? So we can just call it nucleoid DNA, but it's not in a nucleus, it's just floating all around the cell. So, guys, this is what I'd like you to do today. 6 questions, okay? You can do your answers in a Google Docs, and then you can upload it to Google Classroom. So you've got 6 here. Are bacteria eukaryotes or prokaryotes? What are the 3 common shapes of bacteria? Bacteria can be split into 2 groups. What are they? What is the function of the flagellum? What is the function of the pilus? Explain how the organization of DNA is different in bacteria compared to plant and animal cells. Okay, 6 questions. You can do your answers in a Google Docs. I will be here for the whole class to answer any questions, and I look forward to reading your work. First grade, have a nice day. Bye bye.